Joey Ortiz recalled the distant experience, its details fading into a haze, yet still memorable enough to share. Excitement filled the air on the final day of 4th grade as Joey waited for his mom, who always had been there for him, especially on such important days. Joey and his friend Melvin, buddies since kindergarten, had planned a play date to mark the end of the school year. Although they weren't classmates that year, their friendship remained strong. After the final bell, Joey lined up and headed to the exit where Miss Dory, their teacher, waited with the students. Amidst the bustling crowd of parents, Joey heard someone call out, "Joey, Joey!" Turning, he saw a man waving, claiming to be Melvin's uncle, there to pick up Joey. After informing Miss Dory, Joey was allowed to leave with the man, who spoke quickly and nervously, leading Joey through the crowd at a brisk pace. The man explained that Melvin's dad was held up at work, so he'd be taking Joey to Melvin's house. They reached a dark red hatchback, and Joey couldn't help but wonder why Melvin wasn't there too. As they drove, the man chatted incessantly about his own childhood, asking Joey about school and sports. The drive felt long, especially since Joey's house was usually just a 5-minute walk from school. They arrived in an unfamiliar neighborhood and parked in front of a normal-looking house. Inside, it was dark with all curtains drawn. The man claimed Melvin was downstairs playing video games and left Joey alone while he went to check. Alone and scared, Joey realized something was wrong. He tried to leave but found the door locked. In a panic, Joey called 911, whispering that he'd been kidnapped before hiding the phone. When the man returned, he tried to coax Joey downstairs, but Joey resisted. The man's demeanor changed as he forcefully led Joey to the basement, locking him in. Joey sat in the dimly lit basement, heart pounding, until he heard the doorbell and banging sounds. It was the police. After what he felt like an eternity, they broke in and Joey was rescued by an officer. Outside, Joey recounted the ordeal to the police as they waited for his parents. The man was arrested and Joey's mom arrived, overwhelmed with emotions. It turned out the man was a colleague of Melvin's dad who had taken advantage of knowing the pickup schedule. Joey's parents were furious with Miss Dory for not verifying the man's identity. The incident left a lasting impact, leading to months of counseling. Joey never delved into the details as he grew up, preferring to leave the past behind. But he knew that if he hadn't called the police, he might not have survived. That event, which happened 17 years ago, still lingered in Joey's memory, a reminder of a narrow escape from danger. In his junior year of high school, Larry Alfonso and his friends decided to skip school on the stormy last day. Originally planning a beach trip, they opted to explore an abandoned elementary school instead. With no cameras and the bad weather, they felt safe breaking in. Robert drove them there, and using a baseball bat, he smashed a window to gain entry. They crept into the eerie building, finding themselves in a forgotten classroom, frozen in time with desks and decorations. The building was dark. They had expected this and used the flashlight on their phones to see. Even without the flashlights, some light seeped in through the windows and doors, preventing total darkness. They began to explore the hallways and classrooms. Each room was filled with desks and chairs that hadn't been used in probably 2 decades. They were all in the same room when they heard a sound echo down the hallway. They turned off their lights and waited. After a flash of lightning, they decided it was probably nothing and continued exploring. As they neared the corner, Larry looked back down the hallway. He saw something sticking out from a classroom door. He asked his friends to shine their lights on. When they did, whatever they were looking at retreated into the classroom. They all ran down a different hallway. Then they heard another sound echo down the hallway. They realized they weren't alone. They quickly entered the first classroom they found and shut the door. It was a kindergarten classroom. They turned off their flashlights and waited in silence, worried about getting caught. The rain was still pouring, and thunder and lightning crashed every 20 seconds or so. Suddenly, the classroom door creaked open. They didn't see anyone in the doorway, and the hallway was almost pitch black. They tried to stay quiet, and then slowly a head appeared on the doorway. They all saw it, and when lightning flashed, they saw it was indeed a person's head staring directly at them. Larry started apologizing, saying they were leaving. The person didn't move. They just stared motionlessly and eerily into the classroom. Robert asked, "Do you work here?" There was no response. Robert handed Larry the bat and struggled to unlock a window to crawl through. Robert crawled out first, followed by the other two friends, and Larry was the last. Before he crawled out, he looked back one more time at the head in the doorway. He crawled through as quickly as he could, fearing the person would grab his legs. Once outside, he ran to catch up with his friends who were already running towards Robert's car. They drove away quickly and never looked back. Marisa Coleman, a freshman in college, found herself facing a tough challenge in her chemistry class. Every day, she sat at her table, tucked away in the middle of the room. Next to her was Fernando, a guy who seemed a bit out of place. He was shorter than average, with a beard that looked like it hadn't quite grown in yet. Even though Fernando was a bit awkward, he was really good at chemistry. Marisa struggled with the subject, but Fernando noticed and offered to help her out. He shared his notes and let her copy his homework. Marisa appreciated his help, even though Fernando never tried to flirt with her or anything like that. As the end of the semester approached, Fernando surprised Marisa by asking her out. She wasn't interested in him romantically, but she felt grateful for his help and didn't want to hurt his feelings. So she made up a story about going to Miami to avoid going on a date with him. Fernando didn't give up easily though. He kept asking about seeing her after she got back from her supposed trip. Marisa hoped he would lose interest, so she agreed to meet him later. His response was just a simple, "cool," but it made Marisa feel uneasy. That night, Marisa went out with her friends. While they were having fun, she got a text message from Fernando asking about her trip. She joked about it with her friends, but deep down, she felt a little scared. She planned to respond to Fernando's text later, but she got distracted and forgot. The next day, Marisa woke up to a bunch of messages from Fernando, accusing her of ignoring him. She apologized and said she was busy getting ready for her trip. Later that night, she got another text from him that made her really nervous. He didn't believe her story about going to Miami and accused her of lying. Marisa started to worry that Fernando was becoming obsessed with her. She told her friends about it, and they all agreed it was creepy. She decided not to respond to Fernando anymore, hoping he would leave her alone. But then, late at night, there was a knock on Marisa's door. When she asked who it was, Fernando answered. Marisa was home alone and terrified. She yelled at him to go away, threatening to call her dad if he didn't leave. After that scary encounter, Marisa told everyone she knew about what happened. Some people suggested she would call the police, so she went to the station the next day. She also showed the text to her dad, who sent a message to Fernando and tried calling him. But Fernando never answered, and he disappeared completely after that. Marisa was relieved, but she couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. It was a frightening experience she hoped she'd never have to deal with again. After hearing these stories, what would you do if you found yourself in a situation like Joey, Larry, or Marisa? Let us know in the comments below. And if you have any creepy encounters of your own, share your experiences with us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Fear Flicks for more videos like this. Thanks for watching and see you at the next one.